Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. My name of course is Resonant, and first of all, I'm sorry for not uploading the past few days. I've been busy with mostly doing my band stuff, doing gigs and performances and having other commitments like that. But I uploaded a video nearly every single day last month, and whilst I love the feedback from you guys, it's hard to keep it up constantly every single day. Thank you guys for your patience. But without further ado, I really hope you enjoyed this video as I have worked pretty hard on it. So, I've done a number of Mount & Blade Bannerlord videos, some admittedly being more popular than others, but all I want to do is bring as much info to you guys as possible and build this community ready for the release. Whether you like me or not, my intentions are to bring you guys together, but after all these videos, there was something missing. Some massive part of the game that I hadn't covered yet. And these are the new factions we will be seeing in Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlord. As many of you will already know, Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlord is set 200 years before the events of Warband, yet it is still in Calradia and based more around an empire. The first of the factions are the Vlandians. They are a tribe-like faction and known for their extreme skill as heavy cavalry. Will these be similar to the Sturgians? We already know they have the heavy cavalry edge and they are very skilled in that aspect. So I'm thinking these guys are going to be pretty much the predecessors of the Sturgians, and I'm really looking forward to what we can see by that. Will you be charging across the plains with your armed chargers, lowering your lances just like you do in Warband with the Sturgians? Or will they be adding in some other different things? Now obviously we already know that the Sturgians have a very heavy cavalry. They have a mixture of two-handed bastard swords and maces, and whilst their armour is very good and they are very strong, I'd really like to see if they can mix it up a bit in Bannerlord. Will they have different types of weapons? Will there be something other than lances and maces and things like that? I'll be really interested to see what kind of new weapons they'll be able to add in for the Vlandians. Next are the Sturgians. They are known for hanging around in the forests of the north and specialise in axe and swordsmen. From what we have heard, I think they're going to be very similar to the Nords. Like I said, they will be hanging around in the northern area, maybe icy terrain, mountainous terrain, and very skilled with axes and swords. They'll have their big shields, and I'm thinking these are going to be very much like the Vikings and the Nords that we saw in Warband. What other troops will they have though? Will they have heavy archers? A bit like they did in Warband, you had your Nords and they had very good archers that went along with the infantry. They had very light cavalry that wasn't really very effective, maybe only as scout cavalry, the Nords in Warband. So how will they implement this into Bannerlord? Will they have more heavy cavalry of these guys, or will these guys be very focused on infantry? But that's all the information we have so far, so I'm not completely sure what we're going to get with the cavalry, but we definitely know these guys are very skilled with their axes and their swords. I'd love to see throwing axes making a return, javelins, and maybe some other throwing weapons. The Aserai are from the southern deserts and have a mix of foot and mounted soldiers. I think these are going to be very similar to the Saranid faction that we have so far in Mount & Blade Warband. Now of course all these factions are actually predecessors to the ones we have in Warband most of the time, because it is set 200 years before the events of Warband like I said, but it's still in Calradia, so there'll be very similar things to the factions, but maybe they'll have more primitive weapons than we have in Warband, or maybe they'll just have different ones. I'd love to see what kind of stuff they can have. 200 years is quite a big gap, but I still think we're going to see a lot of similar weapons and armour that we have in Warband, but I'm really excited to see the new things they have. So the Aserai are going to have a mix of the foot and mounted soldiers, and the Mamluks that we have in Warband are a very good unit. I'd like to see what kind of heavy cavalry, what kind of light cavalry they're going to have, and are they going to stick with the kind of Saranid footmen specialised with javelins and scimitar type things. The heavy archers in Warband may make a return, and I'd really like to see what kind of stuff they can do with that. Talking about new weapons and new armour, what new units are they going to add? I'm really looking forward to see if they're going to add any more units. As you know in Warband you have the basic troop trees. You have an infantry troop tree, which you can mostly get spearmen in the Rodox. You get things like sergeants and things like that, which are mostly swordsmen, or if you're Nords, obviously, you have the Huskars and the veteran footmen and armoured men like that. You also have the archers, which go up the more sharpshooter skirmisher road. If you're of course the Rhodoks, you have crossbowmen, same with Swadian, and horse archers for the Khuzaits Khanate. And finally there is the cavalry class. I would really like to see what other things they can add in on that. Will there be new troops that we can have? Obviously infantry, archers and cavalry are the main ones, but they did tell us that they are going to be adding in naval battles. Now we don't really have any more information on that, but I'm really interested to see, will there be dedicated naval units such as type marine kind of things that man the ships, where you have crew and things like that, or will it be more of that they do in the Mount and Blade mods where you just sail over the ocean and use your troops you have in battle? That I'll be really interested to see if they can add any new unit types in, and also the mercenaries that they'll be adding in will be really cool to see. Will you still be able to get the hired blades that are very skilled in infantry combat, or the mercenary cavalry, but are nearly as heavy as the Swadian knights, but can still deal a massive amount of damage in warfare? So, as you probably noticed, a lot of the factions in Bannerlord are going to be based around the Mount and Blade Warband ones, and the next one is no exception. The Khuzaits, as you might have guessed, take inspiration from the Khuzaits Khanate faction that we have in Mount and Blade Warband at the moment. These are a steppe tribe making use of light and heavy horse archers. And what's their infantry going to be like? Now of course in Mount and Blade Warband, the Khuzaits Khanate only had the basic infantry, the tribesmen at the beginning, and the rest of it was mostly cavalry. And I'd really like to see what they'll be doing with this. Will they just be sticking with the horse archers and the lancers like we saw in Warband, or will they be fishing more around infantry as well? It would be nice to see a mix in this faction, not just having heavy mounted units, but then again they are the predecessors of the Khuzaits Khanate, so it's very likely that these steppe tribes will have found that using cavalry and mounted units is the best thing for them, so they're going to be sticking with that. The Battanians sit out in the woodlands, using powerful bowmen, but also introducing guerrilla warfare. With ambush tactics, this is going to be something new in Mount and Blade, and I'd really like to see if they can add anything else like this. I'd say these are more like the Vega faction. It's a bit vague, pardon the pun, what faction these guys are based off, but from what we can see, what we've heard, I'm going to say maybe the Vega faction. Or then again, it could be the Rhodoks, since they are hanging around the mountains quite a bit as well. But these guys are very interesting to me, since it does say on the forum that they do use guerrilla warfare. Is this a hint to different tactics we can have? Because in Mount and Blade Warband, you saw a faction, you saw a leader, you saw a count, you go up to them, you attack them, you talk with them, you do that good stuff. Will you be able to set up ambushes in Mount and Blade Bannerlord? It's a very interesting thing, and it'll be rather complicated, I think, to add into the game. But it looks like something is being hinted at there, as it does say that they do use guerrilla warfare. I'm not sure if that's just the lore that they're going with, or this will be implemented as an actual mechanic in Mount and Blade 2 Bannerlord. I guess we're just going to have to wait and see. But that is the Battanians, and I'm really interested to see what heavy bowmen they can have. Will they have a mixture of heavy and light bowmen, and maybe even some crossbowmen in there as well. But that is the Battanians. And finally, there is the Empire. Now this interests me a lot. These are very different to what we have seen before. They use combined arms warfare, using cataphracts, spear formations and archers. Now I think, to me, this is a mix of all of the factions that we've seen so far. It is a bit of a mix of the heavy cavalry, the heavy infantry and the heavy bowmen. I'd really like to see what skills, what different tactics we can use with this, and the Empire are very interesting to me, since we haven't really seen this in Mount and Blade Warband. We had factions that specialise on different things, but not something that was a mix of everything. So these guys do use their heavy cataphract cavalry, and of course, like it said, spear formations. So these guys might be a bit like the Rhodoks, yet the Rhodoks, as we know, were very lacking in cavalry. It'll be very interesting to see the new tactics and weaponry we might see with this faction, since they are a mix of the other ones from what we can see. But tell me your thoughts down below. So, how will these factions relate to each other? Will they always be at war? Will we see alliances at the start of your game? Or will friendships be made along the way as you go on your quest? Leave your comments down below, I'd love to hear your thoughts. The map of Bannerlord is set out as you can see on the screen now. Deserts in the south, mountains out in the west, and also some rocky regions in the steppe east. And of course we have the snowy north. So if you haven't seen my last video talking about a new interview that we've seen, go check it out. But it was mentioned that we'll be seeing some naval warfare in Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlord. This is reinforced by looking at the map, as you can see a number of sea areas and water bodies. Of course, up in the north it looks as if there'll be some places that may only be accessible by ships, which may add an interesting dynamic to the game. From what we can see on the map, factions do look very tight-knit and close together. I think this may have been intentional, and it will raise tensions between the factions and city-states. With claim of territory being a big part of the Mount & Blade series, people being just next door to their enemy could spark massive scale warfare, and I'm very excited to see what they can do with that. What new troops would you like to see? Is there any aspects of each faction that you're most looking forward to? Please leave your comments down below, and I'd really love to hear your thoughts on each faction and which one you'll most likely play as or train troops as. Or will you have a mix of all the factions? Or maybe the Empire is the one for you if you're looking at that style of gameplay. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm loving the support you're giving me at the moment. If you didn't like this video, please give me some constructive tips down below. I want to hear what you guys want to see. I have put up a lot of videos on Tiger Knight Empire War, and whilst many of you like that, some of you want to see some other stuff as well, as you have mentioned. But please, instead of just leaving blatant insults down below, leave constructive criticism. What do you guys want to see? What videos would you like me to do? And I will try and get as many of them out to you as possible. Of course, I'm making these for you guys. I only want to make stuff that you guys want to see. Obviously, there's no point in making them if people don't want to watch them. But thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the video, remember to leave a like. If you didn't, you know what to do. But subscribe to the channel for more content on Mount & Blade Bannerlord and all that other good stuff that you guys want to see. I want to see your suggestions. But other than that, guys, I will see you in the next one.